Right then, my lovelies, what have we got here? This was going to be a big build video, and it took me a long time to make this ridiculous contraption. Unfortunately, my computer became corrupted and all sorts, and I've since fixed my computer and tried transferring the files of this build. Alas, it appears it's not to be. Half of them have become corrupted, and it doesn't really make sense about all of them. I normally just snip my videos and give you a little sample of each bit of the process. You know, even if I spend all day on something and there's only 30 seconds of video, at least it kind of makes sense that way. So it's going to be a little bit of a show and tell instead, hey? And this, in my absence, this has actually consumed most of my time because I was intent on getting this one correct, because it's not my first attempt at a tricycle of this configuration. I did release a video quite some time ago when I was scrapping Mark 1 and the dog bike, both of which are, occupying a fond spot in my memories. Now, no more. A little link to that down below. But yeah, that tricycle had some inherent problems, namely its flex and stability as a result of the flex at speed. It actually spat me off in northern France and scattered my girlfriend's at the time camping equipment all over a French road. Hilarious. I was inebriated on Calvados at the time, I think. I don't know. So nothing, no major harm done. And the brakes were terrible. So this was really my attempt. It's been on my mind ever since. That's a good 15 years ago at least, perhaps more. Goodness gracious me! It's just after my brother's 30th birthday, that trip, and he's 44 now, yeah, or 43. So a few years ago. Anyway, so look, I'll try and explain some of the design points. This is actually the very same Sturmy Archer that I did 250 miles through France on the original tricycle, although I built it up into a steel wheel, with a new rim, and these are just crappy Chinese tyres, but I wanted something with a fairly low rolling resistance, and it's ever such low gearing on this, so top speed, comfortable top speed is about 8 miles an hour with favourable winds. Working forwards, the dropouts I made in tool steel and hardened them and then brought them right back. So I put serrations on them with a chisel when they were still soft before the hardening. It's so important to stop these Sturmy Archers slipping, either twisting in the dropout or twisting, slipping forwards, which they do have a tendency to do. Unless your specialist Sturmy washer was brand new, so that's why they're tool steel. Anyway, I made the rest of the rear triangle. That's just thin wall mild steel pipe that I MIG together. Then we've got a pretty generic, ugly cramp and cheap alloy pedals that don't even want to spin that freely. Frame is what, 3-inch exhaust pipe. I went large to really try and avoid the flex that I had in the Mark 1, which, using a large tube, creates its own problems. Obviously, you can't have a seat post at 3-inch. I suppose you could. So what we've got up here, this is the top of a fire extinguisher that's right shape, then the seat post from a kid's bike poking through the top of the fire extinguisher, and that's all welded on up there. But I didn't want it twisting. I'm not the lightest of people, so that seat post comes all the way down here, and you can see these welds here. There's another bulkhead, if you want, disc of metal that was first welded to the seat tube, and then when the whole thing was slid into place, I drilled the holes and welded through into that bulkhead, and that's worked out nicely. That's nice and stiff, yeah. And obviously we just got one tube going forwards to the pivot. The Sturmy Archer, there's the only place to have the shifter really. That's the same as Mark 1. It worked very well with Mark 1, and that cable routes under the BB, then up through the chainstay there, and of course here. That works nicely. Took a little bit of time to get that working nicely, but you know, there was nothing particularly complicated about that. And now on to the fun bit. Oh god, I've absolutely loved this thing. We've had quite a few trips in it already. Only one decent length trip, but it means I can get the whole family out in one go now. You know, the missus is a bike, the older kids, the older three can cycle themselves, and the younger three just go in the front. Oh man, it's just the absolute tits. All right, let's get under here. Yeah, the brake system. Oh dear, the brakes. The brakes. Yeah, at least let's leave them alone for a bit. Pivot. I can't remember what I did on Mark 1. This I pretty much copied from the Dutch Museum of Backfeets. They got some excellent pictures, because this is essentially a typical Dutch backfeet. They use cargo trikes. I'll try and link to the museum's website, because it really was an inspiration on this build. You know, magnificent things. And some of those guys, what they have tandem trikes with, you know, the Dutch post office back in the day, telephone repairmen and that, and the linesmen used them. Some awesome pictures on there with some pretty useful details. But so this is a piece of heavy wall tube, and I machined some bearing seats into that, or machine them to take conical bearing seats. So we've got cone bearings top and bottom, and that was really important again to prevent the flex. This strap, if you want, I had to beef up eventually. I made it and then sat on the thing, and it had a bit of flex in it, which I was really worried about. So I beefed it up, and it got a little bit ugly. So, you know, not amazingly proud of that, but whatever, it works now. That then goes out on some boiler pipe that I turned the outside down. I just wanted it thick at the ends and take a little bit of weight off in the middle. That's from Dangerous Dave. Cheers, mate. Then we've got the homemade back plates for the drums and the operating system there. Sat on top is Morris Minor leaf springs. I mean, these were the obvious choice because they're cheap here in the UK. I bought these brand new, £100, and I was expecting to have to play around with the spring weight and take leaves out or something, but they're actually perfect as they are. Who would have thought? Yeah. And they're on shackles at the front and fixed at the back, as you can see there. Maybe I should have trimmed some of these bolts down. I'd neglected some of these bolts, haven't I? Yeah, but this is all pallet wood, by the way. We've got an excellent mix of redwood pine, sort of white Baltic pine, and the odd bit of hardwood in there. So I put a little bit of dye in the Danish oil, and then sprayed that on. Onto the wheels and brakes. I'm sure a lot of you will recognise these. These are Honda C90 wheels, yeah, Honda Cub wheels. And this was sort of the second part of this entire build, doing better than I did the first time. Wanted the thing to actually stop, and you know, there's a brake system, a cable system that's not dissimilar to that of a trailer with cable operated brakes. You've got a balance bar in the middle there. Yeah, this still needs quite a bit of work, and I am seriously contemplating ripping it all out, to be honest, and starting again and going with rods and cranks. I think that might work better. Okay. The Honda Cub wheels though. They were great. They're nice cheap wheels with good sensible rubber on them. I think these are made in Thailand or whatever. They come with bearings with a 15mm ID, and that felt a little bit too small for me. So I got some low pro bearings, which took it up to 17mm ID. They're not super low pro, but they're just a little bit oddball size, not standard size. But they worked nicely and meant I could have a slightly bigger spindle, nice big brass dome nut on the end there. Obviously, I had to, and I used the original Honda Cub brake shoes, but made the back plate, and that was a tremendous amount of farting around to get clearance with the wheel fitted and that. But that's done now, isn't it? I'm quite happy. They spin nice and free, and there's no rubber or anything like that. Oh my days! Yeah, silent. Silent. In the handlebars, this was, I know it doesn't quite look at home in here, and I wouldn't have done anything fancy, but this was my father's funeral trailer. Yeah, so I made a cycle trailer. He spent his entire retirement on bicycles. Lots of amazing adventures. We're all amazed at his old age that got him in the end, and not some horrific accident in some weird country on a bicycle with a lorry or something. He made his final trip on this bike trailer. Imagine it very differently with wheelchair wheels and my brother pulling it, and some nice stained wood slats. But he hated waste as well, so I had to chop it up and turn it into this 1/8 handlebar structure. So he'll join us on every family outing this thing goes on, I suppose, won't he? Hey? And that's pretty much it, folks. So, okay, once again, my apologies for buggering my computer up, or I suppose time did it. It felt neglected and decided to hard crash or whatever. I don't know. I'm not that up to working on computers and whatnot, but hopefully we'll get back to filming on a camera rather than using my phone and getting you proper build videos rather than show and tell videos. Yeah. Anyway, until then, I am quite fan of this, and it's been a lot of fun with the kids, and look at this. We're almost getting some decent weather now, so I expect we'll be out in it a lot more. All right, take care, folks. See you later. Bye bye.